Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy The Four Phils, and today I'm going to be taking you guys step by step on how to improve in fighting games. So the first step to improving in fighting games is consistency. Consistency is everything. If you're not playing the game consistently, you're not gonna be able to improve in any way, shape, or form. You have to be playing the game to understand the game, to familiarize yourself with a lot of situations, and just in general, if you're not playing the game, how do you expect to improve? Now, consistency can be in many ways. If you're only able to play, let's say twice a week, make sure that it's a consistent twice a week. You're only able to put in a certain amount of hours, make sure it's a consistent amount of hours all the time. So no matter how much you get to play, just make sure that it's consistent, and you should be able to get some form of improvement. Also, if you are consistently playing, you will see where you're struggling, and you also see areas where you're strong in. So playing consistently also allows you to see the strengths and weaknesses that you currently have, and you only get that through actually playing the game consistently. The second step to improving in fighting games is to focus on one character at the time. The reason why I say this is because you can get mixed up by playing multiple different characters, and it hinders your progress with the actual character you're trying to get better with. So for example, if you're playing multiple different characters, how do you expect to be at an optimal level with one specific character as opposed to being average with multiple characters? Because you're distributing your time out evenly between all characters, you're not really going to be able to improve. So I would definitely say you have to be focusing on one character at a time, get them to a decent level or high level, wherever you want to get to. And if you still want to play other characters, then take them in turns. Focus on one, then go to the other character, take that character to a high level, and then move on to the next. What you don't want to get caught doing is playing a bunch of characters and none of them are really at the level you want them to be at. That's what usually happens with a lot of people that start playing fighting games, and they don't know who they want to play, so they play a bunch of characters and expect to just get better and better just because they're playing a lot. And it doesn't work that way. So consistency, which was the first point, will only work if you're also focusing on one character at a time. Focusing on one character at a time will also allow you to learn quicker because there's less to remember. If you have to remember all of your other characters' combos, all of their whip punishes, all of everything, it's too much to remember, which means it's going to slow down your progress of improvement. Whereas if you're just learning one character, it's a lot less to remember, it's a lot less stress, and every time you hop on the game, you know who you're playing. Now, this third step that I have here is optional, but I think it's also really important to add in here, and that is training partners. I believe having training partners in fighting games is extremely important, and specifically training partners that are your similar skill level to you or better than you. That's because there's not much to learn from players that are much weaker than you are at the game. There's not much to learn. Whereas if you're playing someone better than you or similar skill level, you guys can actually share general knowledge on the game and understand each other a lot more. And also, by playing people that are better than you, by training with them, it's going to instantly force you to have to level up in order to actually keep up with them. So by default, you will be forced to level up, otherwise you will just stop winning. The next point on my list is to use training mode. I'm sure you've heard multiple people say that in the past, but I cannot stress enough how important it is to use training mode in fighting games. It's extremely important. Why is it important? Because training mode is where the groundwork comes in. This is where you do the groundwork. Not everything has to be about playing online and playing online matches or even training with people. You need to be able to sit in a room by yourself, hit the training mode, hit the lab, and actually lab the game. You need to know how the training mode works. Although that is called training mode. That is where you train. You need to be in there. You need to learn the frame data for the game, learn the frame data for your character. If you're struggling with a specific thing in game, you need to recreate the scenario in training mode and learn how to deal with it. Otherwise, you're just gonna keep losing to the same things. The only way to stop is to go in training mode, recreate the scenarios, and learn how to deal with it. That way, when you play online, got the answers now. It changes everything. Utilizing training mode is 100% needed. It's a must. I truly believe that more work is done in the training mode, than is actually on online play or offline play. Because the only thing you're doing in online play is taking what you've learned from the training mode and putting it into practice. So I would argue that training mode might be the most important thing on this list. If you are in contact with any high-level players of the fighting game you play, if you know any high-level players, if you watch their content, if you watch their streams, feel free to ask for help, ask for advice. You know, a lot of them are very experienced in the games that they play. I myself am experienced in Street Fighter, so I can give advice on that game for anyone that asks. And in general, if you don't have the knowledge, ask for it. There's no reason not to. Don't be shy, ask for help. I'm sure a lot of the people are willing to give help. This is also optional. You don't have to do these things, but this definitely 100% helps you. It's all to your benefit. Especially if you're familiar with a high-level player that plays your character in the game, then that's even better. They have all the knowledge you would need to get as good as them or even better than them. So 100% make sure if you're in contact with any high-level players that you look up to or whatever, make sure you do ask for advice on how to improve. Now, if you're someone who learns better with someone by their side, guided them along the way, then this next point is probably for you. Coaching. There are lots of people in the fighting game community that provide coaching sessions, like myself.
Wait a minute!
Quick interruption. Since we're speaking about stepping our games up, if you want to step your game up, I do provide coaching services on Metafy. Make sure you guys check out my page, and if you would like for me to be your personal Street Fighter coach, we can do that. Just make sure to book a session on Metafy if that's what you like to do. Right, back to the video. You should definitely check out a lot of these players who are also providing coaching sessions. You know, if you're one of those people that learn better in those type of environments, a lot of people have coaching services. Make sure you guys check those out. My final step to improving in fighting games is to take breaks and do not overload. The reason why I say take breaks is because a lot of players, I think pretty much every player who plays fighting games a lot, they get to a plateau, they get to a point where they're peaking and then they don't know how to overcome that level they're at, and sometimes the level starts to drop because they're just overloading themselves, they're playing too much. Like I said at the beginning, consistency is key. However, you don't want to overload. You have to take breaks. Fighting games can be very frustrating. Sometimes you play, you get salty, you get annoyed, you get frustrated. And sometimes at those points, it's a good time to take a break and come back, because you don't want to get stuck in a loop where you're just salty, you're annoyed, frustrated, playing the game, losing a bunch, and you just keep going, and you get to this point where you start playing without a purpose. You're just like, yo, I just want to get my next win. I don't care about anything else, I just want to get my next win. And at that point, you're not playing to learn, you're just playing to just get a victory. And it's not really beneficial for your growth. So I would definitely say you have to take breaks. It's extremely important as a fighting game player. However, you can take advantage of the breaks you take. Just because you're taking a break doesn't mean you have to stop working. You know, if you're taking a break, you can watch the game, you can analyze, you can stop playing and start watching your replays, stop watching someone else's replays who you can learn from. Figure out what they're doing right that you're doing wrong. Figure out what they're doing wrong that you can now pick up on and implement into your game, you know? So it's definitely important to take breaks. Do not overload yourself. It's not a good feeling and it puts you off of fighting games. So I've been there, done that. You do not want to overload yourself. It gets very, 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 very draining. But I think that pretty much sums up all the points that I have. I know that I summarized each point and I didn't go in super deep depth with each point that I mentioned. That's just for the sake of the video not being too long. If you guys would like to see me do individual videos on each point and I can break it down even further, let me know down below in the comments. I'll gladly do that. However, I do believe if you guys followed each and every one of these points, if you're playing fighting games, whether it's your first time or even if you've been playing for a while, each one of these points, if you follow these steps, you guys will definitely find improvements in your fighting game capabilities, 100%, no matter which fighting game you're playing. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and I'll catch you guys in the next one.